Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 306 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on May 19th, 2026. How are all you wonderful folks doing? Man, I hope you're doing well. I hope you've been enjoying all the silencer data and analysis on our website. I have no doubt that if you are in the market for a silencer, you have found what you need to be successful in our current rankings. There's quite a lot of data points now. And today we're adding two more entries. That's right. The Dead Air Lazarus 6 joins the party now with two different mount configurations. The 3-prong Xeno flash hider mount with its hub coupler and a direct thread mount, both on the Mark 18. This should give you a great window into the performance of this very popular silencer, which I believe is long overdue. We know this silencer is out there in a lot of places, and so now folks will have a good idea how other silencers stack up in comparison. Yeah, because you can look at the suppression ratings in the rankings there at pewscience.com, and you can compare the Lazarus 6 as a baseline, and it's always great. This is what we call data utility. Yeah, using well-known benchmarks in conjunction with a universal rating system to figure out where you are and where you want to go. Yeah, so we're going to introduce this silencer to you today on the podcast and then hit some listener questions after that. Yeah, and next episode, we'll do the Lazarus 6 deep dive as is tradition. Okay, so let's get on with the show. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new to the podcast, man, awesome. So glad to have you here. There are timestamps in the episode description, and you can skip wherever you would like. And that episode description should be the same on all of the different providers, whether you're listening on Spotify or the website or your iPhone there, or iTunes or YouTube or wherever you are. The timestamp should be the same. Okay. If you want to hang around with me a little longer, I'm going to speak to you about the companies who make this podcast possible. If you don't want to hear me read ads, just skip them. That's what the timestamps are for, okay? This podcast is brought to you by Legion Athletics. Nothing you do is worth doing without consistency. Legion Athletics is a company that can help you really enhance that. And you know what? If you are a drug-tested athlete, have no fear. The supplements sold by Legion Athletics are not going to make you fail a drug test or anything. We do here at Pew Science. We do believe in drug-free strength sport. Always have, and Legion Athletics is a trusted partner for drug-free sport. So it's really cool. They have whey protein, pre-workout, post-workout. They don't have everything you need, but they do have a lot of it. Visit legionathletics.com. There's a link in the show notes. Code word PewScience gives you buy one, get one 50% off your entire order. And if you keep using that code, you get 20% cash back forever, which is important because those of you who train regularly, you're going to spend a lot on supplements. So hopefully you can save the money and help the podcast. You know what I mean? Also, this episode is brought to you by the fine folks at Silencer Shop, who do have their kiosk that helps you have a consistent NFA process and really streamlines it for you, okay? So that's silencer ownership simplified. We're also brought to you by Top Gun Range Houston. They are, by and large, one of the actually local authorities on silencers in Texas, not only because they have a lot of them, but because they have an indoor range where they're shooting a lot, 15 lanes. You can rent more firearms to try out there than any place in Texas, which is pretty crazy. So if you're, let's say you take a Southwest flight to Houston because you have a business trip or whatever, pop on in, see Kyle and his crew, salt of the earth, those guys, Yeah, visit them at Top Gun Range on their website. You can go to Top Gun Range on the Instagram, all that stuff. They like memes too, so share those with them. Also, the podcast is brought to you by Capital Armory, long time NFA folks there. Yeah, they're a pretty big dealer nationwide. They can ship them to your house, all that good stuff. And that's all very good if you're interested in buying things. But the thing I like most about Capital Armory is their knowledge base. Like they have really, really educated folks, and it's not only that they know it on paper, they're true enthusiasts. Like they're actually, and in full context here, they're actually silencer enthusiasts. There are very large organizations that distribute silencers nationwide, but I don't believe that they have the same silencer knowledge as Capital Armory. So, I mean, that's true. That's one of the reasons why Capital Armory sponsors us, because we think alike. And that's important. And I know the silencer community is growing, but I still believe in the old school, and Capital Armory definitely fits into that. Okay, so check them out. Finally, this podcast is brought to you by the Pew Science Laboratory. I'm the technical director of the lab. We've been running this for 6 years. So far, so good. Our goal is to push the silencer industry forward one test at a time. We use a universal rating system called the suppression rating. It characterizes the entire combustion history from the suppressed small arm. And because we test in the free field, it is the most accurate and complete silencer signature data analysis in the world. And it's all available public to you in the Silencer Sound Standard 24/7 at pewscience.com. And you can actually support this effort by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. It's very cheap. It's very, very cheap. And with that membership, you get more data in every report. You get special member supplements. You even get a direct line of communication to us, and you get the satisfaction of supporting the greatest silencer research ever in the world in history, which is really cool. And so we would be honored if you could support us. And if you can't, that's okay too. It doesn't cost you anything to spread the word and let folks know that silencers and guns are awesome. And every once in a while, maybe you donate something on the review page of the podcast page with a donate button. No subscription, just donate. It's whatever. Anything every little bit helps, keeps the lights on. So yeah, it's cool. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff, right? 2 topics for you today, and I think I mentioned earlier that you're getting the Lazarus 6 data in 2 configurations. What I didn't tell you earlier was that actually members are the only ones that are getting the direct thread detail data. So sorry. And then we'll go to listener questions. So let's move into topic 1 at a time in 7 minutes and 25 seconds. Okay. Yeah. Sound signature review 6/225, the Dead Air Lazarus 6. On the 10.3-inch 5.56 Mark 18. This is that Triskelion baffle technology, similar to the technology you saw in the Mojave 9. Yeah, which is a really cool silencer. This is actually with a twist, though. And so, the question is, gosh, it took us a while to get to the Lazarus 6. How does it stack up in this ultra-competitive and, in my opinion, saturated rifle silencer market of 2026. I mean, everyone and their mom is making 5.56 silencers, So this has a high flow rate, has actually very consistent performance. So you're going to ask, well, does the Lazarus 6 do what I need it to do? And to answer that question for you, we took it upon ourselves to test the silencer with 2 mounts and tell you what's what. It's actually it's pretty interesting. This is something that when you get the Lazarus 6, you have a choice. I think you have a choice of like Xeno or chemo, and we got the Xeno one, and they were like, well, what if someone doesn't use Xeno? What if they go direct thread? So yeah, we'll talk about that. And I'm sorry this took so long. I take full responsibility for this delay. So many people asked for this for a long time. It's a very popular silencer. We got really, really busy. We got inundated, actually. Pew Science, I don't know if you guys understand what happens behind the scenes. And I tell people this all the time. They don't understand. Most of the testing and analysis we do is you don't even see. And we have just been inundated, which is cool. I mean, that's a good problem to have, but it does, introduce some backlog, which is okay. So we pushed this Lazarus 6 publication off just only a couple times, where I planned to squeeze it in. I was like, no, we need to get this other thing in. Okay. So I apologize, but it's here now. Better late than never. Also, a really good thing is that this Lazarus 6 report is being published in a time when we now have hazard maps. So you get to truly see what the Lazarus 6 does, which I think is really, really important because of the somewhat unique nature of the silencer. And as I'm telling you, as this market is saturated now, and as we progress through this, it's not always about the suppression rating, and that's always been the case. But the shape of the risk field is actually really important, especially with the way some of you folks are using these silencers. And so I think that this is actually a really good time for the Lazarus, and I'm glad it fit in when it fit in. This is actually one of those silencers that I'm kind of nerding out on personally. Those of you who know me know that my personal silencer preferences are a little weird. Like, for example, I'm a huge Knights Armament silencer fan, and if you know Knights Armament, you know that their silencers are not the quietest silencers. My favorite silencer, probably, if like gun to my head, if I had to pick a favorite silencer, it's probably the Knights Mark 23 can. And although that might be an exception in the Knights pedigree, because it's pretty quiet for its size on 45 ACP. Like, other than that, most Knights cans are loud. I still like them though; they're cool. Some of them have actually severe problems. Some Knights Armament silencers have severe problems, especially with point of impact shift. Anyway, Dead Air is another brand that contains some stuff I'm personally a pretty big fan of. Some big Dead Air hits to me. And I'm not a fan of a lot of their silencers, but some of them, like, I'm a big fan of. The Nomad is, like, I think overall, it probably goes without saying, I think the Nomad is probably one of the most important silencers to come out of Dead Air. Yeah. Did it borrow from the Hyperion? Sure. But I think it's an important silencer, and I think it just belongs in the conversation. I think a more modern Dead Air design that I think is very important in the state of practice is the Mojave. The Mojave 9 is really important, and I think the Lazarus 6 is also going to be really important for a different reason. Now, you can see the Mojave test report on our website. Again, very important silencer, actually very advanced, very high performance. The Mojave 9... I think the Mojave 9, along with the Cat SC, those two 9mm silencers form the pinnacle of modern 9mm pistol silencer performance. Like, if you're trying to suppress a 9mm handgun, I think that the Mojave 9 and the Cat SC are things that you need to be aware of. For 9mm, I think you really need to be aware of those two silencers. And I'm not talking about the short SC, I'm talking about the full-size SC and the full-size Mojave 9. I think those two offerings are strong and represent a pinnacle, like a paradigm shift, similar to how back in the day the AAC Tyrant 9 did. And I'm speaking, I think, for every silencer enthusiast in the world when I say that. Again, this is not like speculation. This is like, if you know silencers, I think you'd agree with me. Now, the Lazarus 6 shares some heritage with the Mojave. And you'll see that, especially as we go to the technical talk next week. But it's not the same at all. Like, the Lazarus 6 and the Mojave 9 are not the same at all. And actually, the Mojave, the Lazarus 6 it's a 6mm rifle silencer, hence the name. It's not even a 5.56 silencer, really. Like, let alone a 9mm pistol silencer. But as you'll learn, again, as we progress through this talk, as you read the report, as you see the silencer hazard map brief, I think 8.1.22, I think the Lazarus 6 does share some things with Mojave, not only in some of the technology, but in the overall design philosophy. I think the Mojave and the Lazarus represent a huge paradigm shift in Dead Air. And in what Dead Air is trying to do with silencers. And this is not Dead Air's words. I did not even speak with Dead Air about this. In fact, the only time I think I might have spoken with, I think I talked to Mike Pappas at SHOT. We were talking, and I told him we tested the Lazarus and it'll come, and the same NX, which we did test too, and that'll come. And he was asking me how I thought they did. I was like, I think the Lazarus 6 did pretty good for what it is, and we were just talking. Then we got interrupted or whatever. But so what I'm saying, like, I just want to make sure you guys understand. Like, first of all, this is completely internally funded research. Second of all, I'm not putting words in Dead Air's mouth, and I'm not taking words from Dead Air when I'm saying it is my opinion. Me personally, it is my opinion that the Mojave and the Lazarus again represent a paradigm shift in what Dead Air is trying to do with silencers, and I'm saying that backed by technical opinion of what we see is happening. And I think that's true. While at the same time they are not giving up some of the classic Dead Air philosophies that they've wanted to hold on to, like durability and hard use and things like that. And I say that, and then some people will laugh and joke. And they've had some teething issues. There was the whole Sierra 5 thing. We don't need to get into that. But overall, just going back to the history of their company, overall, Dead Air, for the most part, at the core, had or has a reputation for having very hard use silencers. I think the Lazarus does durability in a way that some people aren't talking about, and I think we'll address it with facts that we've already kind of hammered home on this podcast over the years ad nauseum. I think we can treat this correctly. And we'll do that next time on the deep dive. The Lazarus 6 is a small silencer, 5.2 inches without a mount, but we can't call it a K-can, and I'll tell you why. So, unless you make it once, it's like when you buy one of these things, at least in the time when we got ours, you have a choice of Xeno or chemo. And there might be more choices now. Both of those options, once you actually install the silencer on the mount and put on a rifle, they make the length longer than 5.2 inches past the barrel shoulder. And it's not just a little bit long. It's not fractional and negligible. No. The Lazarus 6 Xeno version of the silencer, which is a SKU, it comes with a 3-prong Xeno flash hider and the Xeno mount hub coupler installed in the silencer, because the silencer is a hub silencer. When you get that all together as purchased, it's going to be 6.125 inches long, all in. So you're almost adding an inch of length to the can from no mount to the mount installed. You're going from 5.2 inches to 6.125, 6 1/8. So you've gone from what could have been a K-can to a full-size rifle silencer. That's right. 6 1/8 means you're a full-size rifle silencer on 5.56. Like, that's just the way it is. It's not good, it's not bad, that's what it is. And it's not without precedent, right? Heck, and look, and people might get angry about this, but when we tested the Cat WB, the mount we were sent and told to use in the silencer made the whole thing, 6.1 inches long. And I think sometimes people forget that when they look at our test results for the WB on the 5.56. Hey, it's on the website. So if you missed that, well, you didn't read the report. That's okay. Or you're not a Pew Science member, and when you were looking at the rankings, you're not a Pew Science member, so you didn't see the length and weight filters. That's okay. You didn't read the report. That's okay. I'm just telling you. You need to look at it. Pew Science, we don't. When we test a silencer, we tell you how much it weighs and how long it is. We don't take those measurements in length and weight from the manufacturer. Like, if you go to all those websites that distribute them or sell them, they're not measuring them. They're copying and pasting from stuff. And oftentimes it's very wrong. And it could be wrong because they transcribed it wrong, or because they read it wrong, or the manufacturer reported it wrong, and that could be on purpose, or it could be by accident. So we don't mess with that. We do it ourselves. And so you should always, the first paragraph of every report we write for you, it tells you. Okay, so we thought to ourselves, when we looked at this Lazarus, given the state of the industry and what's in it and what's not in it, and we thought to ourselves, well, now after we've been doing this for a few years, we're a few years older, a few years wiser in the silencer evaluation game. And as the pedigree continues to grow, we think, well, what are people going to be doing with the Lazarus 6? It's such a popular silencer. We're using our own funds to do this huge study. It's not cheap. It takes work to do this. We're thinking, well, it comes with the Xeno mount. Are people going to use the Xeno mount? Or are they going to use a chemo mount? Or maybe they're going to ditch it and then go direct thread. I don't know what people are doing. It's a hub silencer. You can't control consumer when you give them an option. And over the years, we've seen what happens when you change the length of a silencer. Like, what would happen if you made the Lazarus 6 shorter? Would you lose performance? Would you gain performance? And those are both good questions. Some of you new to Pew Science may not know this, but over the years, we've seen both things happen. We have seen some silencers, like high pressure injection, closer to their blast baffle. We've seen that increase suppression performance and drop back pressure in certain cases. We've also seen silencers doing the same change. We've seen silencers get louder and increase back pressure. And we've seen different permutations of both of those cases. We've seen that different permutations manifest with different technologies across different silencer models, different brands. And we've even seen different mount types of the same length change weapon system behavior and silencer behavior. We've seen it all. We've seen all kinds, and the amount of permutations and combinations that you could think of are staggering and maddening, and you can't test everything. It's too much. So it gets really, really complicated. So when we were planning this test program, we thought, okay, we'll hit two extremes and just bound the problem on a length basis and a blast load injection basis in a practical sense. So we'll take the Xeno 3-prong and hub coupler that comes with the silencer, and we'll take a standard direct thread mount, and we're just going to see what happens. We have no preconceived notions. We have no idea what's going to happen. All this stuff. We have no idea how a silencer is going to perform before we test it, because we don't rely on anecdotal opinions from the internet, because 9 times out of 10, the person talking about a silencer on the internet from an anecdotal report is either a consumer that is shooting in an unknown weapon in an unknown place with unknown hearing protection, and their experience with silencers is unknown, or they're a dealer trying to sell you something. Most of the time, it's a dealer trying to sell you something, and they're not telling you they're a dealer. That's like, or they're an influencer that got a free silencer, and they're going to say it's great because they want to show this the person who gave the silencer to them that they're doing something for them. So they're so biased that it's basically worthless information to you. We wanted to see what happened. We want to see if it changed performance. And if it did change performance, where exactly and how. And our thought was that not only will it help consumers, which is Pew Science mandate, but it'll help us understand this iteration of the Triskelion technology in the silencer, which is what? Another Pew Science mandate to understand the technology to what? Push the silencer industry forward one test at a time, which is not lip service, it's our mission, right? So with this type of testing, when you do a test matrix like this, you can learn a ton about how the silencer behaves. So I'm here to tell you, we learned a lot, which was awesome. I'm always super stoked when we learn a lot. These two tests taught us a ton about the Lazarus, and we're going to pass the knowledge on to you. And a lot of this I'm going to save for the technical deep dive next week when we go ham and go through every nook and cranny of the data analysis in excruciating detail. But in the meantime today, I'm going to hit some high points, and I have like say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have like 5 high points. I just want to like hit you with right now. First, the Lazarus 6 is sold as a high flow rate, low back pressure unit. Okay. Did we have to play Mythbusters like we have had to do with a bunch of other Dead Air silencers over the years? No, absolutely not. Like the Mojave, this time, again, the Lazarus 6 is doing exactly what Dead Air says it does. I'm telling you, this may be a new pattern for Dead Air, which, hey, I'm super excited about it. Refreshing. When a silencer company says what a silencer actually does, refreshing. Because how many times does a silencer company say what a silencer actually does? Like less than 10% of the time. And that's being generous. So this is true, what it does. The flow rate is high. It's not Huxworks high, and it's not stupid boomy high, but it's high. It's purposeful. Second high point, the silencer is consistent. How consistent is it? Well, when the report is live Wednesday morning, tomorrow for me, today for you, at 0700 Central Time, US, you're going to see how consistent it is. But as far as high flow rate silencers go on the Mark 18, this thing is doing some major work in the consistency department, I think. Again, this helps us understand the technology, and again, we'll go into more of that next week. Third thing, how does it perform from a signature reduction perspective, like from a personnel hazard reduction perspective? Is it loud? Is it quiet? Well, that answer is mixed. Shooter's ear performance, stellar, inconsistent. Really a dream. I think they knocked that out of the park. Pure muzzle suppression performance, not terrible, not great, not terrible. Consistent, yes. World beater, nope. It is a 6mm silencer, after all. Not a world beater at the muzzle on the Mark 18. Fourth thing, I'm going to talk about consistency again. It's something a little different. So there's something about the Lazarus that you should know. I'm actually tempted to call the Lazarus 6 the Honda Civic of high flow rate 556 cans. And even though it's a 6mm silencer, just bear with me. So, and here's why. This thing is going to get you from A to B with consistent performance, whether you have a 3-prong Xeno or a direct thread mount, or it's on a Mark 18 or it's on an M4. It just chugs, dude. This is not a silencer that's like it's not like a prima donna. Some other silencers might win the race. Like if you want this to be like a Formula One analogy or something, like you don't have to change the oil on the Lazarus. Like, does that make, like, I hope that makes sense. Like I was going to use the word, like the phrase like low maintenance, but it's more than that. It's more just like, it doesn't care. Do whatever with the Lazarus. It's very, very Honda Civic-like. I hope that makes sense for now. We'll go into it more next week. Fifth and final thing I'll say right now before next week is that the direct thread mount did increase back pressure a little bit, but the pure suppression performance of the silencer really didn't change that much. And this goes back to the Honda Civic comment, right? Because this silencer basically has 3 baffles in it, and the Triskelion tech kind of behaves the way it does based on how it receives that blast load. You push that blast closer, it expands in a different way, you change the behavior, but then it does normalize in the Lazarus. And you with the Lazarus, you are robbing Peter to pay Paul and coming out almost the same. Again, dependable, predictable, no funny business. And that's really refreshing. Other than like I feel like the hub mount that came with it, like the thread specs must just be wrong or something. One thing I've always, and I hate that I'm going into this right now, but just it is fine. one problem I've always had with Dead Air silencers is their threads are always off. I don't know if it's in the silencer or if it's in the mount. I don't know why. Someone is doing one thread spec for the can, and someone is doing another thread spec for the mount, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why they don't fit like together like butter in their hub threads. I don't know why that is. It could be the hub, but I'm telling you, it came with it. It's not like it was bought separately. So I don't know, dude. That's been like that for the entire 6 years of Pew Science. So I'm not trying to knock them, but I'm just saying, like, figure it out. Like, if that's like really the only negative I can think about, and it's like so stupid. Like, that's a manufacturing thing. That's not even like, it's not even rocket science. So anyway, so yeah, that's the Lazarus in a nutshell. Again, not a world beater in any one metric, but when you combine all of the stuff it does and together, and the fact it's printed out of Haynes, it's hub compatible, got changeable end cap in case you get a strike on the end cap. Internal geometry is very forgiving to abuse. I think this is actually a silencer with the flow rate that you could probably use on any 5.56 gun. Probably not worry about swapping it out. Probably not worry about tuning. Honda Civic, indeed, dude. Like, or Toyota Corolla. Pick your analogy. But like, when I'm just trying to get it across to you, it's not that big. It's like, if you use a short mount, it's kind of small. It's like, okay, you're not going to break it. Dead Air is going to be around a while, so it's not like some kind of brand new 2026 company that could be gone tomorrow. Like, so yeah. Pew Science members, you guys, Pew Science members are going to get the cool direct thread test data in the report. Public's not going to get it. So cool. Public will get suppression ratings for both cases, but again, direct thread data only for members. So the rankings will have both, but members get other stuff. So thank you for your support. This is a member-funded report. This will be live at 0700 Central. Be there or be square. I am so glad that we're done with this. I am so glad it's getting published. What a load off my shoulders. So many freaking people asked for this. Now you can stop emailing us. No, you can email us if you want. It's been nuts. Now let's do listener questions at a time of 32 minutes in 14 seconds. Okay. Man, Lazarus, for real, dude. I guess they probably called it the Lazarus because like the Sierra 5 and they like raised from the dead. Is that why they did that? I don't know. Speculation, really. Speculation. Listener questions. They're back. Solicitation 8. We're going to see what nuggets of knowledge you folks are pursuing today. Going to hit a few of these. It doesn't have to be a lot. But I think if we chip away at this more regularly, we're going to be in a good spot. I think it took too long to do Solicitation 7. We got so busy, we forgot about it. And so I think we've had a good pace on this solicitation, and we're going to keep that momentum. If you're new to Pew Science, pewscience.com/podcast. When you look at this episode, there'll be a metadata tag, like there's metadata tags there. If you see the listener questions tag, if you click that, you'll see all of the episodes with listener questions in them, so you can go peruse if you're into this. A lot of people like this segment, some people don't, but you never know. All right. Let's open the spreadsheet here. We got a spreadsheet it has 8 tabs in it. I'm on the 8th tab, and we left off last time on this segment on question 596, subquestion 6 of Solicitation 8. And someone asked me a personal question. They said, what is the situation with Jay? How is he doing? What is he enjoying lately outside of work? And it's just been crazy. And I answered. I said that, I'll paraphrase myself. Basically answered that in that I've just been so stressed and tired and overworked and burnt out. Running 2 labs is crazy. And I need a vacation soon. Still haven't had that vacation, but we're making it. The grind is real, and that's kind of how it is. That's not really different than normal. It's just kind of how it is, and I'm going to keep on keeping on. If you like the rest of the answer to that question and others, just go back to that episode. You'll find it. Question 597, subquestion 7. Any way to guesstimate what a sound signature would be on a semi-auto pistol if the action was held closed? Yeah. Guesstimate? Yes, actually. Great question. And yes, absolutely. For that, what we could do, well, it's a guesstimate, but I'll do you a little bit better than a guesstimate. We could use the muzzle suppression rating, which will get you close. Now, it is contaminated with some portions of ejection port blast. Those portions do reach that sensor. But there are a lot of clues about how to isolate that. So what we could perform some forensics on the data, and we could isolate muzzle blast and then calculate the suppression rating again in a pure sense as an academic exercise. And then we could test the system by holding the slide closed and see how close we got. That'd be cool. It'd be interesting. It'd be fun for a rainy day. Not a rainy day, but a clear, unoccupied day. Definitely doable. Thank you for the question. Question 598, sub-question 8. I asked directly earlier, let's make it public. What generally makes a great pistol host? Oh, great question. I'm going to let me scroll up in the spreadsheet because we answered this. So I'm going to refer you to the answer to question 594, sub-question 4 of this very solicitation, which was on the previous episode with listener questions. Again, use the metadata tag on the website to find that. Question 599, sub-question 9. Will we get to see Form 1 3D prints make an appearance on a test host? FTN5, perhaps? Yeah, I think so. I think you will. We've talked about doing this over the years, and for those of you new, one issue I've always talked about is the safety of our test personnel. I'm not interested in putting our people at risk or our instrumentation and test apparatus at risk for some harebrained 3D printed Wild West type of silencer. That's not like, I'm not into that. I'm not into taking those risks. But times have evolved, and I think that these things are becoming more mainstream. So yeah, I imagine we'll do it. Also, tax stamps are currently free. Like, FYI, I say currently because if I was a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was a betting man, I would bet that when the political winds shift, I think the tax stamp might change. Who's to stop them from making $1,000? You know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows what the government's going to do? So, I mean, hopefully they don't. But if they can make it zero, they can make it 1,000 or 10,000. Why not? They've done much more horrible things in the past. What do you think Hughes took away from us? Aren't we like on the anniversary of the Hughes Amendment? Close by, round about this time. Anyway, I think it's easier for people to mess with these 3D printed cans now, like the plastic ones. So I think the tech's advancing. I think that will mean by the time one gets to us, a lot of bugs will probably be worked out, and I think it'll be good for everyone. It'll be good for us testing. It'll be good for expectations, like which ones are more popular, and because I think more people are doing. If the tax stamps are just dropped to zero, there's gotta be people 3D printing these everywhere because it's free. It's free to register, and you always hear those internet tough guys. Free men don't ask for permission. It's like, well, that's all well and good, but like also like prison's really, really bad. So just like register it and do it legally, and you're good, dude. Like, trust me, if you think that's, oh, well, I don't want to be on a list, it's like, bro, you're already on a list. You listen to this podcast. Question 600, sub-question 10. 600. That's nuts, dude. Do we need new test hosts because companies are designing to game Pew Science testing? Okay. You know what? This is actually kind of cool that this is like question 600 because that's ridiculous for a reason you may not think. First of all, you want companies to design silencers to game our testing. That's what you want to happen. If you get a silencer that performs really well on a P30L pistol or a standard Mark 18 or an MP5 or a SIG MCX or a 308 bolt gun or whatever host pick, whatever, that means that the silencer is performing well. There's no conspiracy. Remember, we use untuned hosts, like, well, I guess with the exception of our MP5 guns, which have HK 80-degree logging pieces, but I still consider that a factory HK modification, but so that's an early tune. But because we use untuned hosts, we are putting the performance gauntlet directly to the companies. Guys, we are now testing on a factory 14.5-inch SR25. If a silencer does well on that, You bet your butt it's going to do well on the Daniel Defense 308 SBR with the adjustable gas block or whatever. This was all part of our plan, guys, to push the industry forward. It's part of our plan. You want companies designing silencers to game our testing. If the silencer does well in our testing, it performs well. Don't you want that? You want... Another way to phrase your question is, do we need new test totes because companies are designing better silencers? It's like, what? What does that even mean? I've actually heard, and it's weird that you ask this because I've actually heard this question or a variation of this question and seen it. I've read it on the internet at random places from like random people lately. I think I've probably seen it like 3 or 4 times in the past few months. Just like randomly, like what? Why are they asking that? What a weird thing to say. Like they've asked things like, do you think it's possible you're teaching to the test with Pew Science? And do you think it's possible people are designing silencers to game the system? And I'm like, that makes me think you guys don't understand something like fundamental. I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to be rude, but like, what? Like if a silencer does well in the testing, it's performing well. That's it. There is no way to have a high Pew Science suppression rating and have a silencer that doesn't perform well in accordance with the rating. There are no cases of that in the standard. There's none. With today's report, there's going to be 260 records in the rankings. Out of 260 rankings, there's not a case where this doesn't work. It doesn't exist. So yeah, are we teaching to the test? We're absolutely teaching to the test. And the test is physics, and we explain it on the podcast every week, and this is episode 306 and question 600. The end. I hope that helps. Thank you for the question. Question 601, sub-question 11. Can you test a Mach wave by itself 100 or so yards away to silence the haters once and for all? Yeah, dude. Or do that. Sure. I don't know what haters. Are there haters that exist that don't believe Mach waves are real or something? It's like, are they like flat earthers? I don't know. Or maybe you're saying they think that Mach waves are super dangerous or not super dangerous or whatever. So you want to show them like, the data or whatever, like how dangerous it is. Yeah, I don't remember to do that. Like maybe like, what do you think? Like maybe like, what do you think we should do? Maybe like we measure the overpressure like 1 meter away from the bullet travel path, like but 100 yards from the origin. So like mil standard, if the muzzle blast wasn't there, is kind of what you're saying. And then, but with the velocity of wherever the bullet has at 100 yards. So like we should do it with a rifle round, right? That would make sense. Like because you're not losing that much velocity over 100 yards. So it's like, yeah, okay, we can do that. It's in the literature already, just so you know. Like if you don't want to wait for Pew Science to do it, academia already has done this. Because they were curious. So this has been done. Like there's a couple guys that have done it. If you want to look at the papers, they've published them. Like they're in open literature. But yeah, we'll do it too. And then we can assign the suppression rating to it if you're into that. No problem. Like if you want to know, it's fine. And we could do it with like different rounds. Do like a Magnum rifle. We could do like a 338 Lapua Magnum and a 22. I don't know. Or like a 5.56 rather. Cool. Question 602, sub-question 12. Any chance we can see the results of the Station 6 with a good subgun can? We could do that. Do you really want that? I mean, it'd be weird. You know what? I take that back. Otter Creek Labs lithium would be cool because it looks cool. Like Cat Mob would be cool, but it's too big for the Station 6. No ejection port blast though, so that'd be super fun because the Station 6 is loud. It's a loud silencer. It's not like the VP9. It doesn't have a ported barrel. Station 6 is a loud gun. Boy, did people get upset when we published that report. It's on our website. Oh man, people got so mad. Oh, don't you know that it's like so? I was like, no, dude, that was one of the loudest things I've shot with 9mm. I can't believe we bought that, dude. God, that was so expensive. That cost so much money. Because we bought the training silencer and the regular silencer and the gun. Oh my god, that was so expensive, and we just bought it for a test. Oh, Lordy. And how many rounds did we shoot? That was an expensive report. All in with the apparatus, the host, the silencers, all the engineering, testing, the report writing. That was so much money. I'm going to do a yard pop with the lithium on the Station 6 and let you know how it goes. That would be cool. Again, it's all about how the lithium looks, dude. It's smooth. It's plain black. It's classy. I think the lithium's a cool silencer. Hub compatible. Okay, let's do one more. Question 603, so question 13. What have you discovered from your personal use of silencers that require regular cleaning? That's a good question. For my personal use? Well, I've discovered that if silencers do require regular cleaning, they are usually rimfire silencers. And my personal philosophy, I try not to let it get too extreme. The general rule for most non-rimfire silencers is to clean them when they get like an ounce of buildup or so. That's an old, I don't have a strict reason for that. That's just like a rule of thumb from a silencer people. But for rimfire silencers, maybe it's different. I haven't been weighing them for rimfire. I just don't like to go more than 500 rounds through a rimfire can before I clean it, simply because, back in the day, we would actually seize a rimfire silencer together, if you're not paying attention, and it's just a pain in the butt to get it apart. I'm old school, and I remember those mistakes. I think with modern cleaners and stuff, maybe it's not that bad. But I still like to err on the side of caution. Even with modern rimfire silencers that are take apartable, they oftentimes shield the tube so it's like a Sparrow style. I just have a Sparrow lid on my desk here, and it's easy to clean. You don't need to get your silencer spick and span, but you do need to remove the big buildup on the rimfire silencers. Don't worry about being able to eat off it. You don't need that clean. It's not going to be that bad. And sometimes when silencers are a little bit dirty, they tend to perform better. It just depends on the design. That's not a universal truth, so don't always think it's true. Yeah, but I think that's a good thing to think about for silencers in general. Don't have to get them clean enough to eat off of. Keep them from filling up with lead and carbon. That's good. Definitely doable with modern cleaners. Make sure you observe the manufacturer instructions, just of the cleaner and really the silencer, to know that if you're using an ultrasonic cleaner, you can damage some things. If you're using CLR on some different parts, you can ruin the finish. You just watch out for that. I will say too, this is a health concern that I have for some of you youngsters and more experienced folks that might not know. Some of these silencer cleaners that they sell have ingredients in them that normally, before you're cleaning with a silencer, it's perfectly safe, non-toxic, whatever. But then once you end up dunking your silencer parts in it or your gun parts in it, the debris and lead and carbon and chemical, all that stuff gets put into solution in the cleaner, and it then will leach directly into your bloodstream when you touch the solution. I think there's a compound called DMSO or something like that. I could be butchering that acronym. Google it. But on its own, it's okay. You put lead in it and you touch it, and that's a one-way ticket to your bloodstream. And it's done as soon as you touch it, and that's it. And you gotta don't freak out, but maybe you should freak out. So be careful. And also the gloves that you wear, the personal protective equipment, the PPE, when you are cleaning your silencers with these materials, the glove material you need to use will change depending on the solution you're using. For example, some materials will go right through the nitrile gloves, and you might need butyl rubber glove. There's something you need to learn. They used to be called MSDSs. Now they're called SDSs typically. It's a safety data sheet for a material. It will let you understand the necessary PPE and the side effects, the health effects, and the dangers and everything like that. You should really be familiar with chemicals before you use them. It's part of a good safety protocol and SOP that you should develop for you and your family as you clean firearms. Okay? You always want to be safe. You guys are all concerned with silencers not blowing out your ears. Well, what about the chemicals you use to clean them? You don't want to hurt yourself and your kids. So be careful. All right? Stay safe. We want you to stay safe, okay? All right, we're gonna highlight that row in yellow here in our spreadsheet. We just ended on question 603, sub-question 13. We're going to close that and save it. Boom. Okay. That was great. We're hitting under an hour today, which is good for me and for you. And in the morning, when you see that Dead Air Lazarus data, boy, I hope it helps all of you. The hazard map, I think, should help you a lot. Very interesting silencer. So glad we're done with it. Or at least addressed it. We might not be done. Maybe we show you like some other data too, like M4. That'd be cool. But you'll just see that it's that Honda Civic of silencers. It's not going to change much, and that is something that might be comforting to you. Okay, so enjoy the data. We'll be back next week to talk technically. Be good. Stay safe. I will talk with you folks again soon. Okay, bye.